I have a super random quirk. I unpack my suitcase the minute I walk in the door, as in, like, I don't even sit down. There have been 2 times in my life that I can think of that I didn't unpack my suitcase the minute that I walked in the door. And that was Burning Man 2017 and Europe 2019. And that was only because I was so exhausted from the traveling that I just didn't have it in me. But I will do everything that I can to unpack the minute that I walk in the door. And this is partly because I tend to be a person who does the things that I hate most first. If I'm eating and you see there's like something piled on my plate, that's the thing I want most because I'm eating the thing I like least first. It's like just how my brain works. I always delay gratification. So when I come home, because I do not enjoy doing laundry and I do not enjoy folding and I do not enjoy unpacking my bag, I do it immediately because the minute I sit down and I have to look at it, I don't want to do it. And I see this a lot with clients. I will come to their house and start to work with them, and they will have a suitcase that's been sitting there for weeks or a month waiting to be unpacked. And look, unpacking is the least fun part of travel. It's the reminder that we're home. It's the feeling of frustration and irritation that we're done. Like, nobody wants to unpack. It's not fun. Oh, now I have to do laundry. I have to put things away. I have to go to work tomorrow. It's never a fun thing. So I'm going to give you a few tips for how you can be an unpacking pro and get things unpacked really quickly. So the first thing you need is an unpacking zone. If you come home and you have nowhere to dump out your suitcase, because I will tell you, dumping out your suitcase is key. If you have nowhere to dump out your suitcase and you are feeling stressed, it's going to be really hard to unpack that suitcase. So the first thing you want to do is clear a space. Use your bed, and what you can do is just get a sheet or a blanket and put on top of it so that if there's dirty clothes, you're not putting it on your bed. You can do this on the floor, you can do it on a counter. But what you want to do is you want to take everything out of your suitcase and dump it out. Do not work out of your suitcase. I tell you, this is the same strategy for organization. I will always tell you to get things out of their original container instantly, because when they are stuck in a box that they've been in for 20 years or in packaging that you bought them in, we just tend to never want to open it up and handle it. So dump everything from your suitcase into this workspace. And then what you want to do is you want to categorize everything. Do not start to work one item at a time. This is not going to work well for you. What you're looking for is dirty clothes, clean clothes to put away, office supplies, things for the kitchen. You can do this based on room. That's a great way. You can say, okay, these are things for the laundry room. This is stuff for the kitchen. This is stuff for upstairs. Or you can do it by category, what it is. So I like to work in the largest categories possible based on whatever is coming out of my suitcase. Now, a little side quest that you can go on before you start to travel is categorize in advance, meaning that when you pack for your trip, put things in categories. I love those packing cubes, but if you don't have a budget or time to get some packing cubes now, use Ziploc bags. All you want to do is keep your categories separate. Have all shirts together, have all socks together, your toiletries together, your electronics together. By separating things into categories and putting them into some sort of container that holds them, you are really helping yourself out because you're not going to have a million different things clustered together. Now, as you're living in your suitcase on your travels, maintain those categories. Switch clothes from your t-shirt category into dirty clothes, and having it maintain in a category while you're traveling will be really helpful so that when you get home, you don't have to smell your clothes to decide what's clean and what's dirty. You've got a dirty clothes bag and you know what goes into the laundry. It's going to speed things up. So looking for systems and thinking of systems in advance are very, very helpful. This is you looking out for future you, knowing that future you is going to be tired and ready to sit down and not wanting to unpack. So think about what your future self is going to need in order to make this a lot easier. And this isn't just easy when you're unpacking, it's also easy when you're living out of that suitcase on your trip, because it's not just a matter of packing and unpacking, it's everything that happens in the middle. Another big tip when it comes to packing and unpacking is to make sure that you leave space. Oftentimes when we pack our bags, we have filled every square inch of that bag. Now that doesn't leave space for the fact that clothes tend to take up more space when they're dirty. It doesn't leave you any space for souvenirs or things that you've picked up along the way for loved ones. It puts you at this place where you're feeling really stretched thin and overwhelmed. So what we want to do is we want to only pack our bag to about 80% so that you have some room to grow. You have some room to be imperfect, because when you're packing, everything is perfectly folded and looks beautiful, and that's great. but it's not going to be that way coming home. It is very, very rare for someone to come back as organized and folded as they left. So make sure that you leave a little room to be in a more chaotic state on the way back without losing your categories, without feeling stressed or like you need to buy a second bag. Give yourself space to grow. And look, I am a chronic overpacker. I always have been. It's that whole body thing of, oh my gosh, but what if this doesn't fit? And what if I need that? So I get it, but there's always a good 30% or more of our bag that we don't use. So just track if it feels too scary to pack less this next trip. Instead, just notice at the end of your trip what you didn't touch. Maybe take a picture of it with your phone, maybe write a little journal entry about it, write what you didn't use, and then you can start to look at that. Again, we look at organizing as a science experiment. You are your own science experiment. So start to see, oh wow, I always bring those shoes, but I never use them. So it's a good idea that I'll use them, but I never do. And this helps you learn you. It helps you understand yourself better and what you actually need and what you actually want. So use the process of traveling, of packing and unpacking as a way to get to know yourself better and a way to support yourself in a more meaningful way. Now, the last thing that I will tell you about unpacking is, like most things, it will take as long as you give it. So instead of feeling like you just have forever to unpack, tighten that timeline. So if you think it might take you an hour to unpack, why don't you set your timer for 50 minutes or 55 minutes and push yourself to go a little faster? Because this is not a project that's going to be really fun and enjoyable. The completion of this project is the really fun and enjoyable part. So see if you can focus yourself. I noticed that with some people, just setting a timer is enough. Thinking it'll take 60 minutes and setting a timer for 60 minutes can be helpful. For other people, they don't want to give it 60 minutes. They want 20 minutes. So set a timer for 20 minutes, dump your suitcase out, and jump in. What we're looking for is the sweet spot of time that makes you focus better, makes you feel like you're in the hustle and flow of completion, because you don't want to spend 3 hours doing this. You don't want this to be a big project. You just want to reset and refresh and get back to your life and start planning your next trip, which is a way better use of your time than sorting your clothes. Create your categories, dump things out, and just jump in and start to do it as quickly as possible, because done is better than perfect. Now, finally, when you are done with your unpacking, what I want you to do is I want you to do something to celebrate. It can be so nice if it's related to the trip you just came back from, or if it's related to a trip that you want to go to in the future. Do something to reward yourself. Do something that celebrates the trip that you just came back from, or that sets you up for success for the trip ahead. When we look at the process of unpacking, it can feel really similar to how we feel about decluttering. It feels deflating, frustrating, not enjoyable, and I get that. But what I'm going to invite you is to look at the process of unpacking as sacred. You're not just simply putting things away after a trip, reminding yourself that the vacation is over. You are assimilating that trip into your lived experience. You are assimilating and integrating the things you've learned, the items you received, and the experience that you just had into your life. So think of unpacking as an integration, as a sacred integration, as a spiritual uplift. Really view it as a way that you are celebrating the trip that you just took, the ways that you celebrated life by going and doing something fun and adventurous. Start to look at it with a different lens. It doesn't have to be a root canal with no Novocaine. Instead, look at it as a sacred homecoming for you that's setting you up for the adventures ahead. Thanks so much for watching. If you have anything that you do that helps you unpack your suitcase quickly and easily, comment below. I would love to hear about it. And for more tips, organizing tricks, and insights, please follow me. It's so great to have you here. Thanks so much. Have a great day.